OK Sports Broadcast. We're glad you tuned in. And now, the opening lineup for Indiana, courtesy of State Farm. Miller is out there with Steven Jackson. Then there's Jermaine O'Neal. Then there's Artest and Bender. And for Detroit, Tayshaun Prince out there with Wallace. Then there's Richard Hamilton. Then there's Chauncey Billups. And it's Wallace in at the center position.
Well, you remember these two teams years ago had a pretty healthy rivalry, Detroit and Indiana. And last season it was pretty even. They split 4 games.
Detroit, let's play some basketball.
And it's going to be the Pacers off the tip. O'Neal against Wallace. Inside, Bender goes up and lays it nice and easy. Still, though, you know, Clark, if you're a Pistons fan, you hate to see the Pacers, a rival, in the playoffs while you're sitting at home.
Well, for Detroit, it must have been nice watching them get eliminated early by the Bulls, the Pacers did, but they much prefer to be in the playoffs and a team doing the eliminating rather than just watching it. But they're a long way from, I think, being a playoff team based on what the roster looks like right now.
Who is the Pacers' biggest rival, Chicago or Detroit? Hard to say.
It really is. I mean, you know, going back to the successful years of the Pacers from the mid-'90s to early 2000s, it was both. It was at different times. Initially, it was the Bulls, and then in that early 2000s period, it probably was Detroit.
And we know about the Knicks. And
that goes back to the early
exactly.
mid-'90s. Yeah, so
exactly.
I think it was probably Detroit most recently.
Yes. With the floater. That's good, and it's Jackson with the assist that time.
And you got to have perfect timing to knock down that teardrop.
Let's send it out to Doris Burke, who caught up with head coach Rick Carlisle. Doris?
Well, he told me that creating chances against a defense like this is difficult for any team, and he knows they'll have to get creative to get open looks. He added, though, that every defense has holes and flaws that can be exploited, and he thinks he might have found some soft spots to attack. Guys?
Wonderful stuff, Doris. Thanks. What approach to use against the opposing D, I guess, in the front of their minds, it sounds like, Clark.
Yeah, well, it's a tall task when you take on a team as sound defensively as they are, so you just have to be sharp in your execution.
Steve?
Yeah, you got to be sharp, but you also have to attack. I mean, if you're not aggressive against this team, they're going to take control of you, and all of a sudden, they'll have control of the game.
And O'Neal backs in. Hamilton against Miller. 5 to shoot. O'Neal passes to Miller. From deep. The shot no good. Hamilton with some nice D. Billups against Miller. Miller against Billups. Prince outside. He couldn't stay in bounds, and that's going to be a turnover.
You know, something distracting him. The guy just kind of profiled right out of bounds.
Here's Jackson. Right around. 3 minutes left to play in the first quarter. Guarded now by Tayshaun Prince. Jackson kicks to O'Neal. Tayshaun Prince with the rebound.
Well, Tayshaun Prince was once a lockdown defender, but he's sustained some back injuries over time, and that slowed him down a little bit, but he's still a very effective player.
Outside Jackson. Reverses. Rip Hamilton with the rebound. Talking about Prince, even those injuries you mentioned, he still has. And the big-time jam. Let's see it again with the spike slam cam.
Well, he took that one to the rack with some purpose.
I'll say beautiful dunk there, Steve.
Yeah, how about the agility, man? Just the power and the skill, impressive.
O'Neal misses. And here are the Pistons. Hamilton dishes to Wallace. Nice pass. Led him to the rack perfectly for the layup. Wallace has got his first basket. So the Pacers call timeout, their first of the game.
Well, you'd really have to say the Pacers took a step forward last season. I mean, they did improve their road record by 4 wins, up to 13 and 28 compared to the season before.
Indiana trailing here. Jackson passes to Miller. The feed now to O'Neal. Over Wallace. Jackson is whistled for the loose ball foul. That's his first foul. So he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up and 2 shots coming up. Here are the Pistons with the ball. Mark, you talk about 13 and 28 road record for the Pacers, tied for the 9th worst in the league. I hate to bring that up since you do their games. Steve, not what I would expect from, though, a playoff team.
Well, they struggled on the road offensively, Kevin. They averaged about 7 more points at home than they did on the road. But I was impressed with what they did late in the season under Frank Vogel. And if they can carry some of that momentum into this year, I think the Pacers can be much improved. Well, it was a terrible season for Detroit a season ago. The lone bright spot was they actually fared pretty well at home, finishing 21 and 20 in Detroit.
Here's Bender. The shot misses. Pistons go the other way with the ball. O'Neal is tagged with the reach. That's his first foul of the game, and the bonus will go to the free throw line. That free throw good from Billups. Well, for the Pistons, as you said, Steve, even just finishing with those 21 wins, you know, Clark is something to build upon.
Yeah, it is something to build upon. And when you've got a team that's in transition, that's in limbo phase right now, you've got to try to hang your hat on some of those positive things. And the better than 500 record at home is certainly one of those. And you always start when you're building a team, and the culture and identity is let's take care of the home court.
And here is Billups after Steven Jackson hitting the 3. Wallace outside. No good from Hamilton.
He should make that one, guys. He had a pretty good look at the basket, just couldn't get it to go.
Offensive rebound, and the jam by Jermaine O'Neal. O'Neal's got his first points of the night. The Pistons leading. Richard Hamilton on the wing, covered by Miller. Here comes Steven Jackson. Now Hamilton defending. Jackson against Hamilton. Out to Miller. 5 on the clock. O'Neal kicks to Jackson. Miller, lots of room. That's good. 9 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Here's Miller. Timeout called the Pacers. Just 4 seconds left in the first quarter of the game. Up in time. And that concludes a back and forth high score. Well, it's been a tight one so far as we get the second quarter going back here. And so in the game for the Pacers, we've got Jermaine O'Neal. Miller is out there with Steven Jackson. Then there's Artest and Bender. And let's catch up with our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, over to you.
Hi, guys. Well, J.R. Smith, a free agent going into this season and now on a new team. His former coaches in Denver had their critiques of his mental approach, but Smith still got onto the floor with his athleticism and offensive gifts. Smith now in a new environment. We'll see how he does.
Plenty of talent, that's for sure. Thank you, Doris.
And Smith, you know, going into his 8th season now, but still a really young guy, only 26 years old. He's got a lot of basketball left.
Good team play there. You move the ball until you find the right shot for the right person.
They're a well-oiled machine, Steve. I mean, working extremely well as a cohesive unit. Every pass delivered on time and on target. A lot of ball movement and player movement. It's a thing of beauty.
Now Artest, following Billups' three-point attempt. Artest dishes to Miller. Shot clock at 6. Shoots it. Here's the block. And they'll turn it over. Could not get off his shot. 24-second violation. Pistons trail by 3.
Well, you look at this Pacers roster, a nice young blend of talent and size, some versatility. They had the flexibility this past summer to add some other nice players. So this team seems to be on the rise.
And he finishes nicely on the layup. He's got 6.
You know, he got one step ahead of the defense on that one. Excellent job.
And you know, as Steve was just saying about the youth and options for this Indiana team, we were already able to see some of that impact in last year's playoffs.
And that was so important, Kevin, for the team to get to the playoffs, to be able to show the fans that passion and hard work and competitive spirit and promise of the young players. And I think for the fans, it was a case of everybody starting to see that there's new hope in store for the Indiana Pacers going forward.
Now, here is O'Neal. And it's Wallace picking him up. Billups is whistled for reaching in. That's his first foul. Here's O'Neal. Passes it to Jackson. With the lead pass, and stolen by Wallace.
Great job playing the passing lanes and forcing that turnover.
Here's Billups. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot.
You know, Kevin, one of the things that's sometimes overlooked with Billups, he's strong at 6'3" and 200 pounds plus, but he's an excellent low post player for a guard.
And Clark, you talk about Billups' great post-up ability. He may be slowing down with age, but Steve, that post-up game of his is timeless.
Yeah, 6'3", you know, as Clark mentioned, a really strong body. And he's got good footwork, great touch, just a good knack for scoring. He's one of the better post-up point guards in the NBA today.
Billups against Jones. And stolen by Wallace.
So now that's twice we've seen the offense collapse. That's back-to-back empty trips because of turnovers.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem because now all of a sudden you start turning the ball over and you lose all offensive rhythm and flow.
Here's Jack, and Jackson throws it down. Here's a second look with the Sprite Slam Cam.
Good job there. No hesitation taking the ball right to the rack.
You know what, guys? Always the best plan in that situation. Guys, that's what he does. I mean, he excelled at getting to the rim.
Rebound, Detroit. They've never trailed by more than 5. And here they come. Here's Hamilton. So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there.
Well, that should be a rule. No layups. Protect the paint. Make them earn every point.
Yeah, I think that's just tough, hard-nosed, smash-mouth basketball. Make your opponent earn their points from the line. Don't give up any layups.
And a change here for the Pacers. Bender's checked in. Jackson kicks to O'Neal. Jumps up. Laid in with a nice touch off the glass. O'Neal's got 6.
3 straight buckets in the paint. They're making it look effortless.
Well, speaking of effortless, you'd like to see a little more out of the defense. So how about trying, guys?
Here's Jackson. 5 points in the game.
You know, you take the Bulls out of the equation, and the Pistons actually had a good year in the Central Division games last season.
He's guarded by Billups. Just 5 to shoot. Indiana needs to get a shot off. And the Pacers call time here. So for the Pistons, 7-9 in their division. But 4 of those losses came to Chicago, Steve. They were swept by the Bulls.
Well, not a very strong division, obviously. The Bulls, really a good team. Everybody else under 500. So Chicago ran away with that division. But at least Detroit was competitive with their other division rivals.
1:22 left here in the second. Feeds it to Prince. Dishes it to Wallace. Indiana leading. The finish. Now that's how to finish the break. Throw down with force.
Well, that's the problem. You turn the ball over and your defense just isn't set up at the other end.
And sometimes when it happens that way, it almost feels like a 4-point bucket.
He has not done a good job taking care of the ball here tonight. 4 turnovers for him.
Here's Miller. Now Hamilton defending. Here's O'Neal. Off target with the open look.
I tell you what, folks, I bet he won't miss that shot next time he takes it.
Billups passes to Hamilton. And yes, a nice assist from Billups. Billups has got his 3rd assist on the night. Prince gets the whistle for blocking. That's his first foul.
I think he made the right call there. It's always a bang-bang play, but I don't think the defense had position.
You know, blocking fouls are never easy to whistle, but that one definitely looked like a block to me.
Now here's Jackson. 5 points in the game. And stolen by Hamilton.
A fantastic steal. He knew exactly when to jump into that passing lane. Well done.
It's 9 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock. Stolen by Jackson.
That's 3 turnovers for him in this quarter alone, guys. He's got to be better with it.
Now Miller. And Billups over to help. Clock at 4. Shoots from the right block. Got it off in time, but it's no good. And that'll do it for the first half. Game time. It's the NBA on 2K Sports.
The night is young, and we've got...
We have a close ball game on our hands as we get set for the second half of basketball. Here's Billups.
Well, the Pacers handled themselves pretty well against the Eastern Conference last season, 28-24. And they seem to be a team on the rise. They've got a lot of young talent, and having made the playoffs last season, they're hoping for more this year.
We've got Wallace. Chauncey Billups out there with Richard Hamilton. Then there's Tayshaun Prince, and it's Wallace in at the 4 slot. That's the group for Detroit right now. And for the Pacers last season, finishing 4 games under 500, but they are an ascending ball club as they made the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, they're building it the right way, too. Larry Bird and David Morway putting some pieces together. A nice core group of young, hard-working, talented players. Now you just put some salary cap room there. Perhaps you can add a piece or two to elevate your talent base and your experience level. Being patient, not taking shortcuts. They're headed in the right direction.
Good place to play.
Yeah.
Here's Miller. Can't get it to go. Billups with some nice defense here. The Pistons leading. Covered by Miller. Richard Hamilton on the wing. Guarded by Jackson. Hamilton left side. Over Jackson. No good from Hamilton.
Now, he can't get that one to go, but that's a shot he'll hit more often than not.
Artest dishes to Jackson. And so he earns a trip to the line. Official saw the contact, and he'll shoot 2.
And as usual, Steven Jackson last season, among the league leaders in technical fouls. He's always been a very volatile player. He ended up tied for second most in the league with 15.
You know, speaking of Steven Jackson, Steve, he's one of those mile-a-minute guys. Clark, a gregarious guy in the locker room, but the more you talk to the refs, you know, it's just natural. The more technicals you're likely to get.
Well, it's a challenge to rein him in. He's so emotional. You don't want him to feel you're taking the other side. You also want to make sure he's not getting distracted. So you got to pick your spot.
Here's O'Neal. He's got 6. Outside for Jackson. Bangs home the trifecta. Jackson's got 9. Guys, we're not through 3 quarters of play, but 6 lead changes already in this one.
Yeah, it's been a really good game for sure. I mean, it looks like it's going to stay tight throughout.
Yeah, very competitive action. I agree with you, Clark. I mean, this one could come down to the last few minutes the way it looks.
Wallace, good. Wallace has got 4 this quarter.
Yeah, we're now starting to see them get some high percentage shots in the paint.
Yeah, that's 5 of their last 6 buckets inside the lane, so they're getting really high percentage looks down there.
Oh, that's offensive interference. Here's Billups. He's got 6. Back to Wallace. Wallace right side. He's picked up by O'Neal. And the rebound goes to the Pacers. Miller's got his 4th rebound in this one. Out of bounds. And they retain possession. Here's O'Neal, and it's Wallace picking him up. 6 to shoot. Rebound by Wallace.
He doesn't really scare a defense at all. You've seen him miss quite a few just like those. You know, I think it was really exciting for this Pacers team getting into the postseason last year for the first time in 5 years, guys. I mean, the youth helped as we saw the passion come out in that Game 4 win against the Bulls. And I thought they competed very well in that series and have some promise going forward.
1:53 left in the third quarter. Here's Wallace. He goes up again.
A very rough quarter for him as not much is falling right now.
Here's Wallace. Missed it, even after all those chances. Artest kicks to Miller. From outside the arc. Rebound, Detroit. Wallace has got 3 rebounds so far in the game. Clark, I agree with you. You know, brought the Pacers making it into the postseason. They were the 8th seed, but really did a good job against a very talented Chicago team, Steve.
Yeah, very tough opponents. Anytime you're going up in that first round against a team like the Bulls as an 8th seed, I mean, you get to see what a team like that's made of. And I think that young Pacers squad really accounted for itself in a good way in that playoff run. We'll see if they can take advantage and really have a good season this year.
Here's Wallace. He's got 6, 2 on the clock. Looking to end his cold spell, so they take the lead.
You know, if their plan was to keep going inside a ton, it sure has paid off. I mean, it seems like every bucket they get is in the lane.
Well, no reason to take an outside shot if you're scoring at will from inside the paint.
You know, Detroit's play against the rest of the East was about as good as you could expect when you look at their overall record.
Miller inside, covered by Hamilton. Artest the pass to O'Neal. Another miss by O'Neal. Clark going back to the Pistons, 22 and 30 against the East last year.
Well, they've been the cream of the crop in the Eastern Conference for so long. It's probably tough for Pistons fans to have to go through this lull. They're in a rebuilding stretch, no question about it. They are in a stage now where they've got to find some young talent and try to reload here.
Oh, and trying for it. Out of bounds. They'll keep possession. Here's Miller. Looking to end the drought, and that one's good. Miller's got his 3rd basket of the night.
Well, that's a quality look there. The defense a bit late.
And 2 straight now from long range, putting up points in a hurry, Clark.
Here's Prince. The basket good off the assist from Billups. Billups has got 4 assists in the game. Jackson kicks to Miller. The 3 is launched. Rebound by Wallace. Wallace has got 4 rebounds in this game.
Well, neither team has really gained an edge rebounding-wise here, and the score reflects that.
Well, if one team can start hitting the boards harder, I mean, it'll give them a good chance to pull away.
That's good from Hamilton. And good on the second, so he makes them both. 9 seconds left in the third. Jackson kicks to Miller. He gets it up. That misses. Would have counted had it gone in. Well, it's been an exciting game. Plenty of offense as we head to the fourth quarter. So as we get rolling here in the fourth, let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke, for the Sprite Spark Report. Doris?
Well, Kevin, our spark of the game in this one, the stretch by the Detroit Pistons. They've made their move and put a little separation between them and their opponent with the run they're on. If they can keep up this level of play, you have to like their chances going into the fourth, guys.
Thank you, Doris. Everything really clicked for them, Clark, during that run.
Yeah, it sure did. I mean, it ignited them offensively.
To the point, Clark, where they were really in complete control at that end of the floor.
On the court right now for the Pacers. Artest is out there with Jermaine O'Neal. Then it's Steven Jackson. Then it's Miller and Bender. Hamilton dishes to Wallace. He's picked up by O'Neal. Wallace, good! And the Pistons lead by 5.
Well, it's been a tale of 2 halves, hasn't it, guys? After a terrible first half, he's really picking it up.
Artest against Wallace. Kicks it to Miller. Just 5 on the clock. Jackson. And again, it's the Pacers from deep.
Yeah, you can tell they're getting frustrated defensively out here with all these three-pointers falling.
Yeah, Steve, they're ready to throw their hands up. You can see it. The frustration is very visible. I mean, when you spread the floor and shoot the three the way they've done here in the second half, it's really hard to defend.
Miller against Billups. The Pistons need to get off a shot here. Stolen by Artest.
That's just a horrible decision. You got to be more patient with the ball.
And Clark, we've seen some great competition in this one.
I agree with you, Kevin. I mean, looking at the lead changes really kind of tells the story of this game.
Yeah, what's that, 7 lead changes already here? So this is a great matchup, guys. Two competitive teams going at it.
Billups, no good.
Great defense in the paint there, making it tough on the offense.
That's what he brings, a presence. I mean, you saw it on that miss.
Artest against Billups. Billups gets called for the reach. That'll be his second foul of the game. Out of bounds. And they'll keep possession.
Nice defense poking that one out of bounds.
You know, just a nanosecond quicker and they would have been going the other way.
Here's O'Neal. Miller inside, covered by Hamilton. 6 on the shot clock. Jackson passes to Miller. Shoots from the elbow. And there are the Pacers with another bucket.
Looking much more comfortable out on the floor here in the second half.
To end the run, Billups. And he makes good on the layup. And that makes it a tie ball game.
Well, they haven't been getting lit up from outside here. All the points they're giving up are from in close. They've got to offer more resistance.
Yeah, defense has to get better, Clark. They've got to body up, bump somebody, get physical, force the action back out to the perimeter.
Backing down is Wallace. Picked up by Artest. Up with it. He goes up on the money. And we're now all tied up at 43.
Good job creating an easy bucket there.
Good on the first, and that gives them the lead. Two for 2, and it's a 2-point ball game.
Big free throws here, Kev. He got it done at the line. Now they just got to play some deep.
Billups kicks to Wallace. Stolen by Jackson.
The offense looking much more crisp here. They're taking better care of the basketball.
Miller outside. Now Hamilton defending. Wallace against O'Neal. Artest dishes to O'Neal. They're moving the ball. Takes a 3, and the shot is good. Miller's got 11 points here in just the second half.
Well, it's really hard to defend when you're trying to recover from turning the ball over.
Yeah, that's because you can't get back in transition, and the offense can just come down and get an easy look on you.
Bender is guarded by Billups. Miller against Hamilton. Miller outside. And the Pacers call time here. They're ahead by 5. There's 49 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. And now Doris Burke has an update from the sideline.
Kevin, over that last break, I got a chance to hear what Rick Carlisle said to his team. His message was very simple. Pick up the pace and be extremely aggressive. He said at one point, we need to make things very hard on their ball handlers. Let's see if they can feel the heat, guys.
A bucket here would give them a bit more room.
And no need to rush it. Just play smart, get a good shot. Make sure it's a well-executed offensive possession.
A three ball. Misses the three.
Good solid defense on the perimeter there, challenging the shot and not fouling.
Even the best shooters can be bothered by his defense.
From deep three-point range, an absolute bomb from three-point range. They got on this roll a while ago, and they just haven't looked back. Time called here. The Pistons decide to talk it over. They're down by 8. 1 second left in the fourth quarter. What's your take, guys?
Well, the timeout isn't going to save the game, but at least they can talk over a little bit of strategy.
Well, Steve, I mean, one way to look at it is if you've got them, you might as well use them.
And stolen by Miller.
Well, as a coach, that kind of turnover just drives you nuts.
And that's because it should never happen, Steve. I mean, it just shouldn't.
So it's Indiana.